Hi, my name is Michelle Center, and this is my case study for ELD850, Module 16. The first part of our case study was asking what was the problem. So first we go through what do we know. We know that there was an email sent to Ms. Tate that linked to a website, and there were no identifying markers in the email. The website contained inappropriate and obscene statements about Ms. Tate, and it concluded by asking who wants Ms. Tate to disappear. The students and parents have previously expressed concern regarding Ms. Tate's teaching. So based on these examples, it's most likely that we are dealing with a student in her class. What do we need to know? First, is there a way to discover who sent the email or who built the website? And was it a prank or actual threat? If Ms. Tate is not implementing Dr. Smith's suggestions, what's the next step? Were Ms. Tate's expectations really too unreasonable? And with the complaints, which students really are being the most affected by her policies? I would need more information regarding the complaints and the expectations in her class. So the overlying issue is whether or not the student threatened Ms. Tate. Regardless of what's going on in the class and the concerns parents have, it's not okay for a student to threaten a teacher or to post obscene comments about her. Then the secondary issue is whether Ms. Tate's class is being run appropriately and her expectations are reasonable. So by looking into that situation, hopefully we could help alleviate some of the tension between her and the students and the parents. So what should I do? My plan of action is to gather more information, to speak with Ms. Tate, and to speak with William Hall. My strategies for gathering more information would be to talk to the tech department to see if they perhaps used a school address and could be identified through the school. He suggested doing that later, but I would do that first, because if you can get a name right away, you save yourself a lot of time. I would also talk to the security officers, because they often have a sense of which students might have information about a certain problem. And I would want them to keep an eye out or an ear out for any students talking about the situation or bragging about creating the website. When speaking to Ms. Tate, it's important to get an understanding of her concerns and why she thinks William Hall would be a good suspect. I would also want to remind her not to go accusing any students, and it's important for her to continue teaching in a neutral respect so that she's not causing more stress or possibly making accusations to someone who didn't do anything wrong. I would also encourage her to keep an ear out for any conversations about the email or website and let me know which students we're talking about. Last, I would speak to William Hall. Since Ms. Tate feels that he's capable of doing it, I would want to get more information from him about how he behaves in class and what would possibly cause him to create this website. I would not want Ms. Tate to be there, like the principal said in the situation, because I would be worried that her chances of getting upset and just accusing him when maybe he didn't do it would get in the way. How can I resolve this in a fair and equitable way? So what's best for the students? In considering the resolutions, I really thought about academic success and personal well-being of a student, and I kept a few things in mind. In order to continue to have a fair sense of discipline, I guess, and consequences, the students would need to face the standard consequences for a situation like this. I would also want to think about what led to the decision to create the website by the student, and is there legitimate concern regarding Ms. Tate's teaching workload? So the resolution for the first problem, posting the obscene information about a teacher and asking who wants Ms. Tate to disappear, I would consult board policy and school policy regarding discrimination, harassment, intimidation of school students or staff. All of those things are prohibited in both school policy and board policy. Our school policy dictates that students who threaten or intimidate would be suspended from school. In the resolution of the second problem, concerns regarding Ms. Tate's class and the reasons students felt compelled to create the website, I would want to meet with, discuss new strategies with Ms. Tate, and then follow through better on making sure she's attempting to implement some of them, or maybe looking for strategies that fit her style a little better. There's a possibility of assigning her a mentor or another teacher that can work with her, and giving her time to go visit other classrooms where the classroom is considered the same level as the one she teaches, so she can see the workload that they provide. My reflection on this case study: as I was working through the problem, my first thoughts were about the possible unreasonableness of the workload. Since she was technically in her second year, I was considering that it wasn't bad enough complaints to have her fired in her first year, because most teachers are probationary or preliminary at that point, and they can be fired for pretty much anything. After that, it was about the creation of the email and website. What happened that was so bad that the students felt it was a good idea to do that. And my other one was whether or not to call the police. Since it's highly unlikely the technology department will be able to trace the website, however, is a perceived threat enough to warrant some form of investigation. I actually had feelings of empathy for the teacher in this situation. Though she's having difficulty connecting with her students, being a new teacher can be tough, and it's important that they are given time and a little bit of effort to improve their skills. I was concerned, however, that she wasn't necessarily taking the suggestions of the principal seriously or applying them. The other situation that stirred empathy was the obscene statements and threats. I've personally had students call my home and make obscene remarks, and it was upsetting and disconcerting at the time, so I kind of understand the reaction. As a parent, I also feel the frustration of the students and parents regarding the workload or poor instruction. I have also encountered teachers who refused to work with me and my son when he was having difficulties in class. I value the right of the students to learn. If the teacher's not doing their job, we need to protect them and make sure they can learn. I also value the teacher's right to feel safe. When talking about wanting Ms. Tate to disappear, it's a perceived threat, and she felt unsafe in her home at that time. And I value the importance of acting with integrity in a fair and ethical manner. Though Ms. Tate was quick to point the finger at a specific student, it is important not to jump to conclusions about William Hall. Unresolved issues. What is going on in Ms. Tate's classroom? Were her expectations really too high, or are the students just complaining because they have to do more work than they're used to doing? Who created the website and sent the email? And what was the intent of the statement, "Who wants Ms. Tate to disappear?" As far as applying knowledge that promotes the success of every student, interviewing William, I acted with integrity and keeping an open mind and not jumping to conclusions based on Ms. Tate's suggestions. Following discipline guidelines from the school, act with integrity by following those guidelines, because I do not let the students' feelings towards Ms. Tate influence the outcome. And acting with integrity towards Ms. Tate by understanding that being a new teacher is difficult, and then following or putting procedures in place to help her. Acting with fairness, it would be unfair to William if I accused him of creating the website without getting more information. So by getting more information, I am acting in fairness. Even though students would be frustrated with her class, I must consider and value her feelings with regard to the website. So it would be unfair to Ms. Tate if I did not take this situation seriously. It would be unfair to other students if I did not follow the school guidelines for discipline, if they had been suspended for a similar situation and these students were not given the same consequence. And acting in an ethical manner, I acted in an ethical manner by using appropriate resources to gather information regarding the email and website. I also worked with the new teacher in developing skills and strategies. It would not be ethical to remove her from the classroom based solely on parent or student complaints. However, working with her would promote student success. And following school discipline guidelines, though they were frustrated with Ms. Tate's class, it would be unethical to disregard the district and school guidelines regarding obscene comments and threats towards a teacher. Thank you for listening.